So at this point, now that you have actually proven the value of AI for your organization on a small scale and went through these elements that we have already covered, and now you're also going through the adopt stage where you're expanding that use case, finding new use cases, and going through these elements. You have now a clear AI adoption roadmap, a vision, a product roadmap. You have prioritized AI adoption over time based on different elements. You have the best practices, documentation, systems in place. You know what is the evolution of roles and responsibilities, and you're actively participating in that to drive the company to the next level. And you also have those end-to-end pipelines that we cover, right? Going from being able to go from research to production and make sure that that works across different use cases. The final step in the AI adoption journey is actually scale. So now that you have proven it, you're adopting it, now what does scale look like? And the most important thing is company culture. The company culture, the DNA of the company will actually be transformed in a fundamental way now because your company is essentially being transformed and becoming an AI based company. And every company that is going to survive over the long term, they have to go that way. They have to, their DNA fundamentally, the company has to change and at least have a strong value on data, for example, and predictive analytics and being able to make predictions about the future and optimizing processes and products and operations. And so all of that involves a change in company culture, and it all starts with the leadership. So if you're a C-level executive, going through this tutorial right now, it all starts with you. You're that leader. You're setting that that vision, that example, and it goes from the top across the organization. So we need a strong company culture that will actually accept AI adoption, and that won't resist it. And in fact, will embrace it, value it, and then keep going with it. So that's the first thing: company culture. At the scale stage, and once you're positioned to succeed, you have that culture, and you have proven it. You're adopting it. You have all of that business value from AI, that now you would just want to maximize vertical and horizontal expansion of the use cases, because your first use case might have been very narrow, but you showed the value on a small scale. Then you expanded that use case vertically, and then you start expanding horizontally across the organization. So you want to maximize that. Try to bring AI, and AI is not a solution to every business problem, but at least maximize for your organization that horizontal expansion. Look, just examine all of the different business processes, all of the products, all of the different components of the operations, systems, everything, and try to maximize finding those use cases where there will be actual business value being brought to the organization, to the users, to the clients. If you're running a consulting firm or leading projects for a consulting firm and for your clients, you want to look at all of your clients and their operations, their products, their systems, and maximize. So really, when you're at scale, that's when you're really maximizing the vertical expansion of a use case, and then maximizing the horizontal expansion in each one vertically. So that way you're actually scaling across the organization and keeping these things that we covered in mind already, especially improve and adopt. Make sure you're always keeping these things in mind, but now you're at the scale where you're actually growing that, maximizing and optimizing that. And you also want dynamic systems. We have covered previously that, for example, to train machine learning models and have high performing machine learning or deep learning models, you need data. You need high quality data, but also, very importantly, you need relevant data. And the data that you're collecting, historical data may not be enough to solve the business problem right now, because the business problem or the industry, the market, the conditions, things may have changed over time, that now making predictions based on historical past data is no longer powerful enough. So you want a system, a process that is taking this into account. And if you have dynamic systems or processes or products, which is very likely, then you want systems in place that will take that into account, that will collect new data, that will clean new data, that will label new data, and that will keep track of the changing conditions of the marketplace or your users, of your clients. But you need to now consider really dynamic systems, because most use cases in practice are not static, and you need to account for the dynamic nature of everything. And right now, things are changing faster than ever before. And that's so crucial that you keep that in mind, and especially with the data, because at the end of the day, the performance of any machine learning or deep learning models will depend on the quality and quantity of the data and the relevance of that data as well. So keep that in mind. And another thing at the scale stage, when you're so far ahead in the AI adoption journey, you may want to consider re-engineering or reinventing existing business processes. So you may have looked at an existing business process initially when you were proving it, when you were adopting AI, and you may have improved one element or one aspect of that business process. But then once you're at the scale stage, you may realize that, wow, we may actually need to reinvent the entire process. We may need to re-engineer this whole, even connected systems, right? So there may be a huge change on the organization from a business processes perspective, and you have to be open to that, and that may be the way to go. And once you actually start getting to this point where you're looking, at the macro scale, the large scale changes of AI, and you're actually even starting to transform your organization. The business processes are changing, the company culture is changing, and that business value is felt, by internal stakeholders, right? By the employees, staff, and so on, but also by external stakeholders like users, like customers, like clients. And now when you start having and you may be reinventing processes for your clients as well. So when you start doing this, when you're at this, scale stage, you're actually starting to change the rules of an industry overall. And this is what we call disruption. And this is the ultimate form of AI adoption, the most advanced form where you're actually now disrupting your industry, meaning you're changing the rules, changing the game, changing the rules of your industry, transforming and taking it to a whole new level. And you're starting now to make competition irrelevant, and companies are really needing to go through this innovation. And now an old process may just be obsolete because now you found a way to do this process in an entirely new way. You re-engineer it, you reinvent it, and now there's business value that has been created on a large scale, and now you start to have that impact across your industry, maybe across even your sector. And that at this stage, when enough companies are going through the scale phase, that's when we start seeing that AI adoption, the transformation of planet Earth, of industries across the world, and that is really where we are going. The world is going towards this scaled AI adoption, AI transformation of planet Earth, and it's inevitable, especially with all that data that we have and all of the value that is to be uncovered, those trillions of dollars worth of value that are to be uncovered. This is inevitable, and that is the last stage of the AI adoption where you eventually want to end up. And if you become the disruptor, that's the ultimate competitive advantage, and you'll be able to differentiate yourself and create a company that will last for the long term. So if this is something that if you're not in AI right now, and this sounds very interesting to you, you want to be, and what we covered today was from a business perspective, right? It's AI, and AI is inherently technical, but this is more focused on business strategy and short-term and long-term business value, ROI. So if you want to be working on that, and you're not in there right now, you want to make a powerful career change, and you want to join the growing field of artificial intelligence, but coding is not your strong suit. You want to focus on the things that we covered and work at that intersection of technical and business. Click on the link below. I actually created a free training to show you exactly how to make this career transition and get hired for these roles in artificial intelligence in a very short period of time. And this, getting into AI right now, could be just the first step into you taking your company through the 3 steps of the AI adoption journey and getting to see the point of scale. That's one way, and you can become an executive and be that leader. Or you can even get into AI as a first step to position yourself to start your own company. And now you with your company, you as the leader, as the founder, you can actually become the disruptor in that industry and create innovation. So there's ways that you can take that. But the crucial first step is, if you're not in AI right now, you have to get into AI right now while it's early, while it's the easiest time to get in. And there's so much value still. Most of it is still uncovered. And we're waiting for you to help us unlock that value so we can drive the AI transformation of planet Earth. So any questions or thoughts, comment below, and I will see you next time.